Now, one other thing about business plans is, as we have said in the past several times, I won't dwell on this slide because you've seen it a couple times already. I just want to point out to you that starting a small business can be risky. What happens, we looked at this last week in the context of marketing, and we said, what happens to small businesses that fail? Well, they run out of money and then they die. All right? That's a little like saying what happens to people, and we come to the conclusion, well, their hearts stop beating and then they die. Okay, at one level that's true. But it's not very useful for medicine. So when we think about medicine, we don't just think about the risk that your heart stops beating. We think about infection, we think about accident, we think about cancer, we think about all these other things. And we try to deal with those risks one by one by one by one. We don't just say, my God, there's a terrible risk. My heart's going to stop beating and I'm going to die. All right. It's the same way a business person doesn't say, oh my God, there's a terrible risk. I'm going to run out of money and then the company's going to be over. Because we can't deal with that. It's too complicated. And we can benefit by segmenting the risk. All right. So in a business sense, what might you worry about? I'll just list these down. Product risk. Product risk. One thing is, are the dogs going to eat the dog food? I mean, we're going to produce dog food. Will the dogs eat it? That's a risk. Can we even make the dog food? That's another risk. We're in the business of manufacturing stuff. I actually know somebody who discovered that there were lots of old sheep in South Australia. These sheep had gotten beyond the years where they were good for human food. So he invested a lot of money in building a dog food plant to take care of all the old sheep in South Australia. And he built the dog food plant, he bought up the old sheep, he put the dog food in the cans, and the dogs wouldn't eat it. Literally the dogs wouldn't eat it. I don't know what was wrong with it. They wouldn't eat it. So that's it. That's the end. Lost all his money in the dog food plant, and going out of business sale on dog food that no dogs would eat. I'm not sure what happened to that stuff. So you have to be able to actually manufacture it, and the customer has to actually use it. All right? Customer risk. All right? Is the customer going to buy it? All right? If they're going to buy it, are they going to buy it from you? And why? And by the way, can the product harm the customer in any way? There are some products like cigarettes, which when used as recommended, harm the customer. Most products, however, are not actually intended to harm the customer, but they sometimes do. So to be thoughtful about what is this product actually going to do? Are there intellectual property risks? Are there legal risks? Financial risks? We think about the financial risk about getting the money in the first place. That's good, but very, very few businesses of any size survive on a single investment. They need a stream of investments. So what happens down the track? Are we going to be able to raise more money? What if we can't? Are we going to be sort of innovated out of existence? Is a new technology going to come along? A new business model, a new way of doing things, which, is going to leave us out? What about growth? How are we going to be able to fund our growth? And by the way, are we doing any damage to the environment? Is somebody going to get excited about that? So there's lots of risks here, okay? Too many risks to keep in your head. Besides that, you don't want your head filled with risks. But what you do want to know is that you've thought about these risks, you've thought about them systematically, you've analyzed them, and you've mitigated them to the extent that you can.